Okay, so this video is about inequalities, basically the quadratic and the absolute value inequalities. This is really calculator based. If you can do this in your calculator, it'll be a lot faster and you won't have to remember all of the tricks that you have to remember from Algebra 2 if you've seen this, where you were like, is this an and or an or, blah, blah, blah. If you look at the picture, it makes life a lot easier, and since your calculator is available to you, might as well use it. So whenever you have a problem like this where they ask you for the solution set and they have an inequality, especially again if it's got a square in it or an absolute value, you really want to use the calculator. You can use the numeric solver to find these points, like the whatever the number is, but it's not going to tell you the sign, like the greater than or less than. You should have just seen, I just pointed up my screen. Not very useful for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this equation or inequality and we're going to put one of the sides in y1 and the other side in y2 in the y equals button or in the y equals screen. So when I go in to type this into my calculator, the easiest way to find an absolute value is to say either go to the math menu or go to alpha window. And alpha window has all of these interesting things, but the first thing is the abs in your calculator. So I put the abs and look there, my lovely, the bar in there. So then I'm going to do my alpha y equals to make this into a fraction. It's going to take me forever to type these, and I'm sorry. Okay, and then plus 9. So that's all that goes in my y1, just everything on the left side of the inequality. And then in my y2, I'm going to put the other side. I can't, there we go, 7. Okay, now I'm going to graph it. And again, if your window's not set right, if you changed your window at any point, if you zoom 6, it's going to make it back to the normal window, and hopefully you can see everything that you want to see. And surprise, I can't. Okay, if I look at my answer choices here, they're much bigger than my screen. My window right now is just set for a 10 by 10, but these answers are in like the 20s and the 30s, and they're negative. So you can zoom out, that's fine. I don't like to just zoom out because I can't see everything. So what I'm gonna do is change the window to some of the choices here. So it looks like my biggest negative number they've given me is a negative 30. So I'm gonna go like negative 40, and notice they're x's, so I'm changing my x and not my y. And then the biggest x value I see is 39, or sorry, 29. Oh, actually it's 34. Oh, that's fine. I did 35. We're fine. We're fine. Then I'm going to graph. Now you're going to, there we go. I see answers and there, all the way over there. Okay. This is where you're looking. You want to find your intersection point. So if you want to go change your window back to a little bit smaller, it looked like they were all negative. So maybe we want to make that like negative 10. I don't know. Just to see it, that's fine. You could have used that other window though. That's fine. So right here, because I'm looking at this inequality where it says, I want this side, y1, to be greater than this side, y2. So if I look back at my y equals, my y1 was blue. And I have a blue pen. There we go. Okay, so my y1 was the blue one, and my y2 was the red one. Okay, cool. Didn't know if I had a red pen. So if I look right here, I want where this thing is above the red line, because I want the blue line to be above the red line. So what I'm looking at here is I want all of these pieces. I don't care about the piece that's underneath, the little like V part of it. I care about the top parts. Okay, so looking at that, I either want this side or this side. So I don't want the ones that say and. They don't need to both fall in that range. They're either going to be over here to the left or here to the right. So now you go in and you actually find those points. So you're going to hit second trace number 5. That's the intersection point. And you honestly, for the sake of time, just press enter 3 times at this point and find that value. It's negative 29. So I know that this right here is negative 29. And I would assume that that other one is negative 34 looking at the answer choices. But I know that this is bigger than negative 29. So I want this symbol. I don't want that one that has a positive 29, and this one says greater, so, or less than, so it's got to be E. Okay, so again, what we did here is we graphed this using the left side in y1, the right side in y2. I then looked and I saw, what am I looking for? Am I looking for above the lines or below the lines? So a greater than is going to be above, a less than is going to be below. Okay, I had to change the window a little bit, but then in order for me to find the intersection points, I just went to second trace number 5, and that got me that intersection point. And again, I could find the other one too if I needed to, but I didn't for this particular problem. Okay, I know that seemed like a lot, but if you do this a couple of times, it starts to go a lot faster. So let's try another one. Okay, so I want to find the solution set to this guy. Again, I'm going to do the same exact thing where I'm going to make one of these y1 and one of these y2. And I'm being annoying because I already knew what colors they're going to be. Okay, and so you can move stuff all to one side. It's fine. You don't have to, though, because if you know what you're looking for here, it'll make life easier. Okay, squared. It's taking forever to type. And again, if I hit graph right now, it's probably going to not look good. I'm probably not going to be able to see very much of my graph at all, if any. Oh, there's one. So if you hit zoom 6, it puts you back at the normal window. Okay, zoom 6, that's a good place to start. So again, I'm looking at this graph right here. Because I have a greater than, I want to know where is the blue graph above the red graph. So blue graph above the red graph happens right here. So this is another OR problem. If I had a less than where it's underneath, that would be an and. So I look, oh man, all of them are ORs. Well, that stinks. Looking at these though, I can see that what the difference here is what those numbers are. So let's go find what those numbers are. If I do second trace, number 5, and then I press enter 3 times, it'll give me the nearest intersection point. So this guy, well, maybe, there we go, is negative 1.5. Okay, so that if I look at my answer choices, that would be negative 3.5. So not you, not you, not you. Okay, so it looks like we're between 2 and negative 2. Well, just looking at this graph, this is at a positive 2. I could go check it just to make sure, but that's a positive 2. And so I would pick answer choice A. Okay, again, this is a lot faster than trying to like factor and do all those other crazy little things. I just I just type one side into y1, one side into y2, and I look at the picture. Okay, now be careful. Sometimes getting a greater than or getting a less than doesn't always mean you're getting an and always or an or always. So if I look at this guy, again, I'm going to type my left side into y1, 11x plus 6, and then I have 0. Okay, and now I'm going into the graph and I'm looking where for this one I want, and I'm going to make sure I know what colors I'm looking at. So this guy, my blue one is my y1 and my red one is my y2. And I know a lot of times you don't want to write a lot of stuff on your test, but this might be the thing that you write down. So you know that red is this part or blue is this part, so that way I know exactly what I'm looking for. Okay, so I'm looking at this picture and I want my blue to be above my red. So where blue is above the red is right here. So, and I'm missing a spot up there, it's okay. But what I'm looking for then is I am not looking at an or anymore. I want all of this. So I want one of those points, they need to be between these two numbers. So this is now an and question, even though they used a greater than sign, which normally tells you it's going to be an or. That's just when you solve it the long way. Look at the picture every time. Okay, so now again, I'm going to look at those points. I can also kind of just look at the picture and see from here. I know it's not a negative 6, so I can get rid of this one. This is the problem here. This looks like a positive 6, and I would honestly say that's a negative 1/2. So if I want to, I'm pretty sure it's A, but again, if you need to double check and do second trace number 5 and get close to the one that you're curious about, yay, negative 1/2. Okay, so again, hopefully these are some fast ways that you can get those inequalities done. It works for the linear inequalities as well. It's just sometimes a little bit harder to see, but these are really, really helpful to just go into your calculator and look above, below, done.